Good morning. This is Leap Into Media. My name is Max, and I'm here today with Julie talking about teen pregnancy and gang violence. How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing great. We're talking about this because the U.S. has the highest teen birth rate among similar countries.
That's crazy. But did you know that nearly half of the 19 million new STDs each year are among young teens aged 15 to 24?
No, I didn't. That's very weird.
That's really sad because then it proves that a lot of people don't take care of themselves when they have sex.
Well, that's some people. It's not all the time. Sometimes that happens because there are rapists out there and they rape them, and so sometimes it's not their fault. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand.
But some of them who do go through that, they come out strong because they know how people put people like that down. So they go out of their way, try to prove people wrong, and even though it's hard, they want to continue because, like, some of them actually have parents that probably went through that. So they learn how hard their parents went, and they try to overcome that, which works for them for some of them, but some of them just give up. But I'm proud of the people who don't give up.
And there's a lot of teen parents out there too, right? We're interviewing some today.
Oh yeah, there is. Actually, we have Eddie back there in Worcester interviewing Detective Bailey on his views about gang violence. And here's to you, Eddie.
Thank you, Max. I am Eddie Young, and I'm here with Detective Bailey. We are going to talk about gang violence. So tell me, what is a gang?
Well, a gang is basically a group of people that have a common goal and work towards that common goal together. In the streets, unfortunately, most gangs use illegal means to get something or use force or something like that. But gangs doesn't necessarily mean bad. It could be good gangs, and they reach a common goal through working together, yeah.
What community conditions enable gangs to take root?
Well, in the more street gangs, you're looking at community, no place to go for the youth, no place, bad families, not being together, not being there for the children, and then you're looking at schools, how schools treat troubled youth. Everybody has a chance of being in a gang. It's just how people in the community treat them that either force them, and I don't want to say force because it's a choice that you make to join a gang or not join a gang, but make them think that the only choice they have is to create a gang so they can feel a part of a family. You know what I'm saying? So they're lacking at home, they're lacking in school, they're lacking in a community, feeling welcome.
Is the gang problem growing?
I would say so, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it contributes a lot, like I said, a lot of the things, community, families, breaking up, parents not being home. Sometimes nowadays, both parents have to work.
Yeah.
So they're not
Must be hard.
home, yeah, they're not home as much. So unfortunately, the adults in the gang will use those little imperfections in a family or in a group and say, oh, come on, you know, we're here for you, we're here for you. And initially they will be, yeah, it motivates them to say, you know what, I want that. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to be a part of a group. Everybody wants to be a part of a family.
So they could feel protected.
Right, and they harp on that, and that's how they get them. Oh, and it usually starts off, something drastic happens, and the gang is there for you. And then they say, you know, look, we were there for you, and you say, oh, you know what, you were. And then it goes from there, and it builds from there, and then they enter the illegal aspect of the gang.
What are some factors that contribute to the escalation of gang violence?
Number one situation that creates a hostile situation is basically territory.
Yeah.
A gang likes to feel, you know, whether it be I live on this street, or live on this street, or this area of the community, that's our area, that's our community, that's our part. And anybody that comes into that part, they feel threatened, and they'll act out, and that and drugs, you know.
They make it as their own territory.
Right, and that's their main, most gangs, that's their main money source. is them selling drugs or doing illegal things. And if another gang comes along and does those type of things in their area, then you're basically taking away their business. So therefore they got to react, and the way they react is, we're going to do something violent, that way no other gang or somebody will say, oh, I don't want to mess with those guys. So.
What if a gang member was born into it?
Definitely, no matter what situation you're in, when you're born into something, it's all you know. You know, you see that with children that are abused, or children that see their parents abused, and it's all they know. So it's not that they like it. If you're born into something, no matter what it is, gangs, anything else, it's hard to break that cycle. That's the hardest thing to do. And that's when those people that are born into it need outside influences the most. You know what I mean? Like if you're not born into it, then you kind of have a choice. People got to realize they don't have a choice. That guy was born, or that girl was born into that. Don't harp on them so much. Help them, but take it a different angle. You know, it's all they know. So you have to show them that there is something better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you think it's really hard for them to like get out of the gang if they're born into it?
Yeah, I think that's probably the hardest. The hardest is to get out of that once you're born into it, because that's all, like I said, that's all you know.
Yeah.
And you accept it, and
it's like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It's part of your life.
And plus you grow, they see people dying or getting hurt, you almost grow immune to it. You know, like it's just like a normal thing, and that's unfortunate. And those are the hardest ones to get out. And like I said, you can't help everybody.
Yeah.
But that's definitely the hardest situation, I think.
Thank you, Eddie, for that wonderful conversation with Detective Bailey about gang violence. Now we have a little video with Caroline interviewing Daisha about teen pregnancy. And afterwards, we'll have a little interview with Caroline about her reviews on the interview. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caroline, and I am with Daisha. What is it like being a teenage mother?
It's actually kind of hard because I'm basically doing everything alone. And the only time I have help is when my mom wants to help. But other than that, I started with waking up every 2 hours to then waking up every 4 or whenever. And then when he's sick, it's bad because like I get no sleep whatsoever. I could go to bed late and then I'm up by like 7 in the morning. But it really is hard being a teen mom.
How does society treat you?
Sometimes they treat me kind of bad because when I walk down the street, a lot of people be like, oh, look at babies raising babies. But I think they say it just because of what other teen moms made us look like. A lot of them made us look like we're bad, but when in reality, a lot of us are not, because at least we take care of our child. But they sometimes treat me pretty bad.
How did your parents react?
My dad didn't talk to me for like the first few weeks, and my mom cried when she found out. But then after a while, they got used to it, and then they were there to support me for it.
How did your relationship change with your partner?
It changed in a lot of ways because we had to like figure out how we're gonna raise the child, how we're gonna do it with both of us just being teenage parents. But after a while, like our relationship is pretty good. He's there for his child, and he's there when I need him, so it's pretty good.
Did you continue to go to school?
Yeah, I went to school during my whole pregnancy, and I went to school after. I only got a month off, but I still managed to still go.
How did they treat you in school?
Well, very bad, because they would look at me, and then a lot of kids like to judge others nowadays, and it was just weird because every time I walked down the hallway, they would look at my belly, and then they would automatically whisper something, but to me, I really didn't care what they had to say.
How did your life change socially?
I lost a lot of friends just because of the pregnancy, but only a few really stood there. But after you become a teen parent, you really don't care who you have. You just realize that a lot of people who say are your friends are really not. But now I basically don't have nobody, just 2 or 3 friends, and I don't mind it.
What would you have done differently?
I would have most definitely waited. The pregnancy was not planned. It took me in shock, but I would have most definitely waited because it's very hard, and not a lot of people actually are able to go through it. Things are not easy when you have a child. Like, it's not. You watch 16 and Pregnant, and then you see that a lot of girls just choose guys over their own child. And a lot of girls you see now, they be like, oh yeah, having a child's fun. It's really not. You can't go out when you want to. You can't do things that you would normally most do. But after me becoming a teen mom, I know most definitely I would not want my child to become a teen parent from everything I went through. A lot of people discriminate you for being a teen parent. Do I regret my child? No, I would never. I work, I go to school. When people say, oh, when you have a child, you can't go far. You can if you actually try. I work, I give my child everything I can. Does he deserve more? Yes. But I try. If it wasn't for my mother, I wouldn't be here. She helps me with everything. She watches the child while I go to school. She watches it while I go to work. It's a position which I would tell you don't even, because it's hard. It's not easy whatsoever. I went through 16 hours of labor. 16, not a few, it was 16. And it's hard and it's stressful.
Have you learned anything from Daisha's experience?
To wait until you're older and finish school.
When she started crying, how did you react towards that? How did you feel?
It felt sad.
Seeing her suffer like that hurts a lot. I mean, yeah, I didn't cry when I saw the video, but still, seeing my best friend suffer every night and stuff, don't even try getting with any guy that would just want you for sex, because I know that there's a lot of guys out there like that. And I'm saying this to you straight from my heart. You can't. Relationships are hard, and I know. Even if you just date someone for a month, it's hard. Once you break up with them, you go through this stress and depression and stuff like that. I mean, I'm a virgin, obviously, but I wouldn't. I highly recommend you not to be in any relationships at this age. Thank you, Caroline, for coming and taking your time. This has been an amazing experience. I hope you guys learned from that. If you have any response, just email us. And back to you, Max.
Now you know the hardships of raising a child at such a young age and sacrificing almost half your life for a little girl or boy that you had because of one little mistake. And also the hardships of being a gang member in today's society. And that wraps up this year's edition of Leap Into Media. We'll see you next time. Have a great summer. Thank you.
Hey,